Hey everyone, this is Marcus Brown. This is hopefully the first of many, what I'm gonna call ShopTalk sessions. I don't know, I don't have a name for this yet, but basically it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. There's a lot of people out there talking on the docks, in the alleys, on the forums, and there's things that people are talking about that I would really like to address in a more open form, a more visual format instead of through written type. So that's what this is going to be. I don't have a name. I'm open to suggestions, but a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about, I want to remind you I'm not a health professional, but I am a professional athlete, and I've lived through many situations. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is mechanics of skiing and, basically technique and, how to throw a great birthday party for your kids. Although I don't know anything about that now, I may in the future. So take it with a grain of salt. First thing I want to talk about today, I'm going to try to be quick, is what is a stacked position? We see this a lot. We talk to people about being stacked. What does stacked mean? In the past, when you're a skier, people have talked about as you cut through the wakes, as you get into a good pulling position, people have talked about hips up, or they've talked about shoulders back. Now, what I want to remind you as skiers is we tend to sit a lot. Whether we drive before we ski or we drive the boat after we ski, or we get in the car and we drive quite a bit to get to the lake and then we drive home, or we sit at a desk a lot. That's a lot of sitting. Now what happens when you sit? I'm just gonna get a little technical, but what happens when you sit? Your hip flexors get short, okay? Your glutes, everything back here shuts off, your hamstrings get tight. Everything that tends to take your pelvis and pull it forward. Does that look familiar? Probably not to most people, but that's what my friend Kelly Starrett calls stripper butt. When your butt's sticking out like this, you have this huge sway in your back. That's what skiers tend to have a lot. Now on the docks, before we ski, we see people doing, hamstring stretch, which is great. We see them doing this thing where they're trying to stretch their back out because it feels good. But the problem is, this stuff isn't tight. That's not what's causing the problem necessarily. What I think is causing a lot of the problem is people taking loads in these overextended positions like this. Now a lot of what I'm gonna talk about, I do steal from my friend Kelly Starrett. But I'm not afraid of him, so if he wants to come after me, he knows where to find me. First thing, stack position. How do we get our bodies into better shapes to be able to handle better and higher or just more efficient loads? So we can do it for more cycles, so we can do it for more ski sets, so we can do it till we're 89 years old instead of 59 or 49, okay? So first thing, how do we get, most of us are pelvically tilted forward here, okay? So how do we do that? A lot of people try to do these stretches. Quad stretch, hip flexor stretch. One of the other ones is down here on your knee, drop to your knee, and you push your hips forward. This is a great one. I want to show you how to do it better, okay? You take this band, put it on any kind of post, anything. Stiffer the better. This is entry level. This black one is quite a bit stiffer. Put this just below your butt cheek right here, okay? I like to, actually, you know what? Left leg, so you can see what I'm doing. I like to have my trusty foam roller so that I can use it for balance. So I take steps back here. I really get a good stretch, a good amount of tension built up in this band. And then what I start doing with my abs, my core tight, with my glutes tight, all that sets my pelvis into position and allows me to isolate what I really want to stretch, which is down here and maybe a bit of that psoas. I start keeping the glutes tight. I start moving around. I allow myself to sink forward with my hips. Allow this band tension to pull me forward and help me open up this pelvic region here that's really tight. Sometimes I take the band, put this foam roller on top of it, push down. That reminds me to activate my core and really gets even more tension in that band. The last thing you can do, put this up against the post, drop down on your butt, and it helps if you have a stiffer foam roller. But you can set your femur, your knee right up against that, have this band pull tight, and just really open up this way, keeping everything tight, abs tight, glutes tight. You can get some good rotation on your femur in the hip socket and loosen that up. Also, pull back this way. Now remember, everything you do has to include core tight. Okay? When you take a load on a water ski and people talk about hips up, talk about chest up, all that stuff does is ends up making you overextended. If I'm standing here in stripper butt position and somebody jumps, lands on top of my shoulders, that load, however much they weigh, goes all the way through my spine, all the way down into my pelvis, all the way through my legs, okay? So what happens is, if your spine's already bent like this, okay? Your spine's already slightly bent like this, and then you take a load, the spine bends even more and squirts out the front. Basically, you overextend, overarch, and your body shuts down right away, your back stiffens up, can't get out of bed the next morning. That's the problem. Not from this stuff necessarily being too tight. It all plays together, but this is a very, very overlooked problem. So what happens is, you don't want your spine to be bent when you take a load. Yeah, it's got a certain amount of sway and a certain amount of bend, but you want it to be neutral, okay? So when you take a load through this spine, it doesn't want to budge. It doesn't want to bend that way, it doesn't want to bend that way. And that's what we're trying to do. So, position, trying to get your hips open up so that your body is in a better shape, even in everyday life when you're walking around. Feeling your glutes on a little bit, feeling your core activated just a little bit, so that instead of here with your butt, everything's tail tucked, everything's neutral. That will help you get in a better position just in general. And then when you go and step foot on your water ski, hopefully when you go to take those loads or you go to edge change and you finish your turn at the backside of the buoy, you're in a better stance and you're better prepared to accept the load from the boat through your spine. That's it for today, guys. Something that I think is very important. I didn't get to cover everything I'd like to talk about, but I want to hear feedback, and I'd like to hear some suggestions on what you guys want me to talk about, because this is about you. There's a lot of stuff out there that I could talk about, but I want to hear what you guys would like covered. Technique, mechanics, birthday parties, whatever it is. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.